What if the next version of Google looks less like a search engine and more like Pinterest? Hey Carnies, and welcome back to the Daily Carnage Show. I'm Shannon, I'm a digital marketing strategist at Carney, and I'm your host. And today we're talking about Google's biggest update to image search in 25 years. So grab your sparkling water and let's get started. So you may have heard this refrain sweeping the internet recently that Google is turning image search into Pinterest. But what does that really mean? Essentially, Google is transforming image search from a retrieval process into a discovery engine. The homepage is being redesigned into a more personalized, Pinterest-like discovery feed. In addition to that, AI can now generate images directly in search. The interface itself is getting a major refresh. And all of these changes signal that this is something way more substantial than a visual makeover. You may remember in our last Google episode, I talked about how we got image search in the first place, which is kind of funny. Back in February 2000, Jennifer Lopez wears a green Versace dress to the Grammy Awards. And Google at the time, which was traditional web search, did not have a way to deliver this image to the millions of people who exploded onto the internet searching for it. So to solve this problem, in July 2001, we get Google Images. And then we're off to the races. By 2009, we have similar images. Google Lens follows in 2018, and then we get multi-search in 2022. And it's 2026, and we finally arrived here to essentially the biggest change to Google search ever. The Google Images homepage has remained the same. It's a logo, a search bar. The new homepage is a completely different experience. Instead of asking what you want to search for, Google immediately presents a personalized gallery of images that are pulled from across the web. And Google says this is a dynamic feed that's updated in real time and naturally tailored to your interests, which means you're going to start discovering before you search. And so you can see why people are comparing this to Pinterest. This is the first time Google is proactively surfacing visual ideas, inspiration, products, destinations, recipes, artwork, fashion, home decor, basically anything and everything. And this redesign also introduces a For You feed, along with a Saves tab where you can organize images that you want to revisit later. And this is remarkably similar to Pinterest's formula. Discover something interesting, save it for later, return to it when you're ready. This experience is initially being rolled out to signed-in desktop users in the US, who are also using English, but the availability is expected to broaden over time. The interface itself is also getting a refresh. So for years, the action buttons like Visit, Save, Share, and Google Lens were all directly layered on top of image thumbnails. And this was functional, but of course they obscured the images themselves. In this refresh, those controls have now been moved beneath each image. So there's now like a cleaner toolbar with larger and more recognizable icons. And that's a relatively small design decision, but it does signal that Google expects people to be spending more time here, really browsing images instead of just clicking one and leaving. So if you zoom out and take this all together, the redesigned homepage, the personalized recommendations, the new saves and collections, this cleaner image all around, we can see that Google is really trying to position themselves as a destination where you browse and discover. This is a big shift because traditional Google search was ruled by intent. You know what you're looking for, you know what you're here for. You have a question and Google gives you an answer. You want to see that green Versace dress and we have it for you. But if you use Pinterest, you know discovery is an entirely different process. Sometimes you don't really know what you're looking for at all. You're in a completely different mental state. You're collecting ideas, you're planning a renovation, you're looking for tattoo inspiration. Maybe you're in the middle of your workday and you just want to look at beautiful vacation destinations. It's a mode of exploring possibilities rather than just searching for facts. This is a different behavior entirely. But why would Google be so interested in changing user behavior at this level? Well, a traditional search might only last a few seconds. Here's that green Versace dress. Take a look. Maybe you're taking a little longer than average look, but it doesn't take that long. But that said, a discovery session can stretch much longer because people keep scrolling, comparing, saving, and exploring. And that time, that attention is incredibly valuable. You know this, the longer people stay in your ecosystem, the more opportunities you have to understand their interests, personalize their recommendations, connect that visual content to products, and monetize these interactions. But there's another component to this major announcement. Google will be integrating AI-generated images into this search experience. If someone searches for help me visualize a mid-century modern living room, or show me this jacket in a different color, Google will now generate custom visuals directly inside of AI overviews. These images will be powered by Google's newest image generation model, which is inexplicably called Nano Banana. They're not replacing real photography with AI-generated artwork here, but they are combining the two. You might receive an AI-generated concept alongside authentic images from across the web. And Google hopes that this will create overall a more useful search experience, but we're going to have to wait and see for the consensus on that one. But for marketers, what this means is that your photography, your product shots, your branded visuals, they may increasingly appear alongside AI-generated images, which means that your competition may be AI, not just other companies. So what does all of this mean if you're a marketer responsible for marketing a brand in 2026? Well, first, visual SEO is going to become much more important. The process of optimizing your images, like writing alt text and compressing your files, creating descriptive file names, adding structured data, these all still matter. But images themselves are becoming primary content, not just supporting content. And that means someone will encounter your brand inside a discovery feed. They may never read your headline. They may never see your website. They may never know your company name. So your image has to communicate all of this on its own. And that's visual storytelling. And for publishers, this means that the hero image needs to do more work than just sitting at the top of the article. This is like a distribution asset now. Let's talk about saves as well. At this time, Google hasn't said that they're going to influence rankings. There's no evidence that they are, but they exist. And so that should signal to us that they do matter. Whether or not they eventually become a ranking signal really isn't the point. The point is that it appears that Google wants visual content that people return to. And on another note, I'm continually concerned about our visual literacy in regards to AI, and this update really complicates that. As AI-generated images become more common inside search and you're seeing them alongside real things in the real world, it's going to naturally be harder to distinguish between generated visuals and edited photography and authentic photographs. To this, Google says that AI-generated images will be clearly labeled, but the question remains. We're really pushing the concept of what search is and was. You used to just search for things that existed, but Google is going to be creating things that don't. So yeah, we're not just retrieving information and data and facts. We're discovering and exploring the possibilities. And the reason people are freaking out about this news is because it kind of signals, where the internet is headed, where Google goes, the future goes. It really feels like the boundaries between search engines and social platforms and AI tools are all starting to disappear. We have Google Images adopting Pinterest's model, Google Lens blurring the line between physical and digital worlds, AI overviews living in a completely alternative reality, and search itself becoming an entirely new opportunity. So if your visual content right now is optimized just to earn clicks, you're thinking about an internet that existed a decade ago and may never exist again. Visual content now needs to inspire discovery and encourage saves and spark curiosity. And it needs to stand on its own without copy because that's where people are encountering it. Basically, Google has fundamentally changed what image search is designed to do. And the brands that win in this next version of search won't be the ones with the best keywords or the highest rankings. Honestly, it's more like social. They'll be the ones who are creating visuals that stop the scroll, that people want to save and share and return to. The Google Images of 25 years ago was really built around helping people see the world. But now Google is betting that the future of the internet will be helping people imagine what's possible, what doesn't exist yet. As a marketer, how do you think about this? How does this change the game for you? As a consumer, can you imagine yourself going to Google Image instead of Pinterest for discovery? Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts on this announcement, or you can always head to our exclusive Facebook page or our subreddit, The Daily Carnage, to keep the conversation going. But that wraps it up this week for The Daily Carnage Show. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, make sure to like and subscribe across all our socials. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to The Daily Carnage, our newsletter that helps keep you the sharpest marketer in the room by sending an issue every Monday through Friday. Have a good one, Carnies, and I'll see you in the inbox.